Hey guys, I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Today we are going to be talking about a zookeeper who's going to be feeding the penguins at her zoo. So I hope you guys got a chance to hop on the zoo cam. Sometimes the penguins aren't there, but sometimes they're awake and they're pretty cool to see. So today we're going to continue using the RDW or the read, draw, write approach as we try to solve this problem for this zookeeper. So just as a reminder, here is our slide that tells us what the RDW approach is. So remember, the first step is to read the problem. We circle any important numbers or words, questions, anything like that, really to help us make sense of the problem as we try to figure out what we're supposed to be doing. And then after the first step, step number 2 is to draw. So we're going to draw a picture or a model, really anything to visually represent the words in the problem so that we can see it. And then lastly, we're going to write our equation and our answer as we finish it up. Okay, so here's our problem for today. This is step number 1. So remember, we're going to read it, circle those important parts, figure it out. So our problem is here, and it says Carrie, the zookeeper, has 2 buckets of fish. There are 12 fish in each bucket. How many fish does Carrie have to feed the penguins? So think about it just for a second. What numbers does this problem give us? What's important? What are we trying to figure out? Just think to yourself for a second. All right, and I have noticed that it gave us 2 different numbers. So first it told us that we're going to have 2 buckets. So choose different buckets of the fish, and then in each bucket, there's going to be 12 fish. So that's going to be important to our problem. So 2 buckets of 12. And then as I look and try to figure out what it wants us to do, the last question says, how many fish does Carrie have to feed the penguins? So that's asking for a total. So I think we're going to either have to add these numbers, we're going to have to multiply these numbers, but I think drawing a picture will help us figure that out. So I'm going to go ahead and underline that part as well, because we want to know how many fish in all. Okay, so now that we have done the first step, we've kind of figured out what we want to do, we're going to move on to step number 2, which is to draw a picture or model. And you guys you can just draw dots, you can draw squares, circles, whatever. I'm going to use fish today. Just to help us a little bit. But since it said that we have 2 buckets of 12 fish, I'm going to go ahead and draw the buckets. Remember, they don't need to be perfect. Here's bucket number 1. And here's bucket number 2. All right, so now I've drawn the 2 buckets, and I'm going to go ahead and move 12 fish into each bucket, since that's what this zookeeper had. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's the first bucket. There's 12 fish in this one. And now I need to move the 12 fish into the other one. 1, 2, 3. Of course, you guys can follow along on paper if you guys have it, or you can just watch. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost there, 10, 11, 12. All right, so now I have put 12 fish in each bucket. So this is the model that we have for this problem. So now that we've drawn it, we're going to use this picture to do step number 3, which is to write our equation and write our answers. So we're first going to start by writing a repeated addition equation. And remember, that just means that we're adding a number multiple times. So looking at your picture, I want you guys to think about which number did we add multiple times. You can look at the model, or you can look back at our word problem if you need to. Which number are we adding multiple times? Okay, and you might notice that we added 12 plus 12. So we added 12 multiple times, and we added it 2 times. So I'm going to go ahead and write our equation. So we added 12 plus 12. And to find our answer, all we have to do is look back at our picture and count up how many fish we had total. So since I know there's 12 in this one, I'm going to go ahead and just count up. So we had 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we had 24 fish total. So that's our repeated addition equation. So now that we've done that, I also want us to go ahead and write our multiplication equation. And remember, for multiplication, we just want to know what number we added and how many times we added it. So the number we were adding was 12. And think, did we have 12 one time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times? How many times did we add 12? Okay, and we had 2 12. So we had 12 times 2, since we added it twice. And since that's the same as our repeated addition equation, remember, we could count it up again if we wanted, but again, it's going to be 24 fish. Okay, so those are our equations. Now we also want to be able to write our answer in a sentence. I'm going to say the zookeeper had 24 fish in all to feed the penguins. All right, so that's our answer for that one. So we used our 3 steps. Because of that, it helped us solve our problem step by step. It made it a little bit easier, at least for me. I hope it helps you guys too. All right, the last thing we are going to do is we are going to complete our bonus question for the day. So here it is. We are still going to use our DW method, but we're going to put it all together. So this one says, if there are 6 penguins, how many fish will each penguin get? So think, there's 6 penguins. Remember, we had 24 fish in all. We just solved that one. So I'm going to go ahead. I've read the problem, so now I'm going to circle the numbers, the important parts. So this tells me that there's going to be 6 penguins in all. It only gives me one number, but we did find that there's 24 fish in all. So I'm going to go ahead and write that to the side, just to remind myself. And then go ahead and circle it, because that's going to be important to this problem. And the question is asking, how many fish will each penguin get? Okay, and this doesn't say it, but we're going to go ahead and give an equal amount to each penguin. Okay, so we have now circled the important numbers, and now I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture or a model. So I'm going to go ahead and move the penguins so that there's 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now there are 6 penguins, and I'm going to go ahead and use dots to represent all of the fish that they're going to get. So I'll go ahead and grab my marker. Okay, and since we have 24 and I want to give each penguin an equal amount, I'm going to start just giving each penguin 1 until I run out. Because if I gave like 8 to the first one, I might have to give less to the rest of them, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to do it one by one. All right, so I'm going to count up to 24. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And luckily, they all ended up with an equal amount. Okay, so now I've drawn my picture, and I want us to go ahead and write an equation. So I'm going to start with my 24 fish, because that's what we were dividing. So if I wanted to write our equation, I would write that we started with 24 different fish. And we haven't really done this too much yet, but I wanted to introduce to you guys the division sign. So if we had 24 fish and we divided that group of 24 into 6 groups for the 6 groups of penguins, then I want you to look and see how much each penguin got. So if you look just at this first one, this penguin had 1, 2, 3, 4 fish. Okay, so again, this equation means that we had 24 fish in all. We divided the 24 fish into 6 groups for the 6 penguins. And when we did that, each penguin was able to have 4 different fish. So we read this as 24 divided by 6 equals 4 fish. Right? And lastly, if we wanted to write our answer in a sentence, we would say, each penguin could have 4 fish. Okay, so that's our answer. All right, so last thing I need you guys to do today is I need you guys to hop on Canvas. You're going to have two problems very similar to this. One working on that multiplication, and then one trying to divide um, something up equally, just like we did with the fish and the penguins on this bonus question.